just kind of move on and cover Visual Studio in about 5 minutes, because it seems like everybody else is familiar with it already. So don't really have a whole lot to go into on that field. So all right, and if I go over anything too quickly, please let me know, because we've got about 30 minutes left. Again, the idea was that you would have a chance to do your assignments during class. Have you guys already done all this stuff? Have y'all been kind of doing remote branches with me and things like that? Because what you had to do was clone this. That was one of your assignments. So
and just pull and
yeah. So it's not really too difficult. So if you've already done it, then we would probably have enough time to just kind of breeze through the rest of the class. And the other assignments are just really creating projects that you don't actually have to make them do anything. Just getting some familiarity with it. I think it's stuff that you guys will probably take about 2 seconds to do and be good with. So I really just kind of wanted to go into what's going on in Visual Studio. This is a quick review, and I'm probably going to take like the last 10 minutes or so and talk to you guys about class Wednesday, because this is one of the things of not really knowing everybody's skill level. I kind of want to get familiar a little bit more about what needs to be covered Wednesday night, so that I don't waste everybody's time with stuff you already know. Like, I don't want to bore you to death, but I also don't want to skip over anything anybody feels like they need more help with. So I've polled a lot of people, but it's a lot easier when I have the actual people who are going to be in the class. Everybody's always like, oh, we need this, we need that, but you know, if they're not here, I'd really rather focus on the people who are actually able to take the class what they need. So I want to make it as functional and useful as possible. So we'll probably take a few minutes doing that. So okay, I'm just going to close Visual Studio and do this thing that I like to do, which is close out everything that's on my computer, because I don't like having things open. Alright, so starting with Visual Studio, when we open up Visual Studio, and you guys hopefully downloaded 2013 already and have a copy of that running and so forth. So when we create new projects, we have a lot of options here in our templates to see exactly what kind of project that we're going to create. And kind of just wanted to go over this. Have you guys worked with this, like with creating different project types instead of, I mean, have you actually had to create projects already? Or
not really.
Not really? Okay.
Most of them go to what
they're already there and you have to just open them. Okay. Well, when you're creating a new project, you have to pick what kind of project you're going to do. So when I teach Introduction to Computer Programming at ITT Tech, we create a bunch of console applications because it's very plain and easy, and we use Visual Basic. But in any case, you can create a console application from here, but this is where you're going to choose what type of application. So I know, for instance, some of the stuff that we're going to use in class, we will create a console application. So if you look at this, we'll create a new console application, and yeah, that's a beautiful project here. So our project called Bob Saget, and this is going to create a whole brand new project out on my file system, and I'm going to go to that and show you exactly what happens when you create this project. So Visual Studio 2, this is the default location. So 2013 and projects, you can change this. You don't have to put it there. You can put it anywhere you like. But hopefully you guys grasp this concept, but this was the thing that when I was having my students submit stuff they didn't quite get a hold of, is that the project is a unit. Like, everything in that folder is part of your project. So sometimes they would send me a copy of the project file without the CS file, and I can't do anything with that when you're looking at it. We're going to be uploading everything to GitHub, so hopefully, you know, we won't have any issues like that. you'll treat your project as an entity in and of itself, as a whole. So everything in this folder is that project. So if we go in here, you can see the first thing is a solution file. So your solution is going to be a group of projects, or in this case, just a single project. Okay, and the solution is meant to organize your projects together. Then inside your project folder itself, you'll see you have several things. One is the bin file, and this is where all those that's where all the DLLs and stuff get generated when you build your project. And then we have our CS file, and this is the one that we're actually editing in the project over here. So if we look at that, this is actually the program.cs file, and it's the one that actually has your code in it. So really, if I can do that. Okay. So and you're going to have different sets of folders depending on what kind of project that you create, and that's another thing to be aware of. I know when I first started here, I tried to reverse engineer something. I was trying to figure out what kind of project it was, and I was like going through looking at the file system. I'm sure that there's way easier ways to figure that out, probably in your properties folder. But anyway, I didn't know how to do it, and so I was just looking at the file system and what happened. So if I go in and create another project, I can do it inside the same solution. Oh, maybe I can do it if I can work the mouse. Okay. What now? So I can add this to my solution, and so maybe this time we're not gonna do a server light project. We do a Windows Forms application. That'll be fun. Alright, so I had a Windows Forms application, and this one, maybe those are going to be kind of similar. So we'll still have a program.cs, but this time you're going to have a designer file, and this has like your UI for your form in it, and then your form.cs will have the actual code in it, so it's going to be a little bit different. Have you guys ever had the pleasure of creating a Windows Form application? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a college project, maybe.
Yeah. This is what I was actually doing in my old job, was creating a Windows Forms application. So.
That's why you're here now, right?
Yep, that's why I'm here. I couldn't hack it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't want to go there.
I was just kidding. I know, I was just doing that thing I do where I try to make everything an insult.
It was 2 years ago.
Okay, so you can see we have like a whole different set of files that get created. Some of them are similar, like you still have properties, but you got references. Oh, sorry. So have properties and references, and so forth. But we have a little bit different. Now, if we were to go in and add another project, and I'm going to do this in a new solution. I'm going to do a web project. We did an MVC project. So here's like an MVC4 project. How many people have used MVC before? Excellent. No? Okay.
Well, a small hand means a little bit.
A little bit? Okay. Yes, let's save all those
To be very
things.
honest, we'll keep it honest.
Alright, so here, and when you create your MVC project, you have some options, and what it's going to do, if I do internet application, it's going to pre-fill like a whole project in there for me. You can do empty if you don't want it to do that, and you want to leave it alone. And this is an MVC4. We're going to do MVC5 in our stuff, but I'm just giving you some examples of different project types and how different that they look. And I'm pretty sure when we get to the next version, it's going to be way different. I was working on a project trying to do it without using the web config file at all.
Well, they're getting rid of it, so.
I know. Alright, so now you can see, rather than just those few little files that we had, like had a couple folders, or one folder and 3 or 4 files, now we have just a ton of things that have been created for us, because things on the web are way, way, way more intense and complicated. But as you can see, like straight out of the box, I have a project that will run, hopefully,
More or less.
eventually. They don't show this on that service commercial, do they? Alright, so here, look at this. This is this whole project and it has links and everything. And I can create a user and log in. So it was a whole lot of stuff that they threw out at you right from the get. Now, we're not going to use any of this, but
Kinda cool.
it's just nice to know that they will throw it out there and then you can change it if you like. But we'll be creating some a project in MVC5. Yeah, and I'll probably give that to you maybe Wednesday, maybe Friday. We'll see.
Also, just as a side note, this is a really great place to come learn. Like,
Yeah.
you do a template, you've written zero code, hop into the template code, like, you're gonna learn about Razor, you're gonna learn about C#. These are all parts of Microsoft's version of MVC. And just straight out of the template, there's so many things that you can learn directly from it. So if you see something on this page or whatever out of the template and you say, how do they do that? Just go look, it's right there. There's not magic, it's code. It's code behind it, so good place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the first things. And I mean, also, this class isn't intended to like send you out to do tutorials all day long or anything like that. However, there are a ton of tutorials available on the internet if you want to practice. And that was the first thing I did when I walked in the door. Everybody's like, have you done MVC? And I'm like, nope, I've been doing those Windows Forms applications. And I believe it was Scott Poe was like, hey, you should go to this website and it's got all these tutorials. And I was like, all right. And so, I don't know about y'all, but when I first started working here, they didn't give me much to do. So I spent 3 or 4 weeks just doing tutorials, and that's all I did, but, I was still getting paid, so whatever. Yeah. Oh, I do, yeah. Are you volunteering? Yeah. So, it's great to help you with your skills if you have the time, and also, the more time you spend, the better developer you are. And I used to preach that to my class. At least you guys have a job where you have some sense of programming outside of your classes. I know most of the guys that I taught when I was in school worked at fast food places and things like that, so they didn't get a chance to do a lot of programming, and half of them had families and so forth, and some of them had grandkids. So you guys at least are in a better position than most of them. So take the time to really learn how to do this stuff. Presumably this is your career choice. So I hope that you have a little bit of passion for it at least. And I would strongly encourage you to get involved in like Stack Overflow or some other community that would reinforce that. So I could tell a huge difference just watching. For those of you who don't know, Carrie is one of my former students, and so once she graduated, she got like really involved in Stack Overflow, and I could see a huge change. And so now I ask her questions. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. So it's a very good development resource. So, all right. I'm gonna switch. Oh, I closed this. I forgot that. I'm gonna switch back and just flash up the assignments because I think that probably most of you have done almost all of this, and it won't take but a second to do. But as our assignments go, I want you to upload them all to GitHub. So, not what I wanted. I don't know which browser I went to. You know what? This is already here. So there's your assignment list that I have made up for tonight. And so if you're already done with the source tree, like you're already almost done. And then if you register GitHub, you know, even more so. And then I just wanted to just give it a go, creating these projects. It's really not anything that's going to be time intensive. Like I said, hopefully the bulk of what we did was covered already in class. And I would like to kind of manage most of the assignments or things that we will do while we're in here rather than stuff on your own. But you're going to have a project that you'll be working on outside of our meetings. And do we know yet about the mentors or?
Yeah, we haven't gotten them fully assigned yet, but we've got 4 or 5 people that are full-time developers that pretty much their focus for the next couple weeks is going to be being available for you guys to ask questions and talk over Messenger or go talk to them in their office or whatnot. So I'm going to send those out as early as I can tomorrow morning.
Okay.
And I'll probably include the link to this video as soon as I get it uploaded and posted somewhere. So I'll have a lot more information about all that tomorrow.
Excellent. All right. So these guys have volunteered to kind of help you guys out. But I'm also available, so feel free to come to me. I go to a lot of meetings, especially on Wednesdays. But if I'm at my desk, I will respond on chat. So, and you know, feel free to email me, or I mean, you can send me a message on chat. I'll get it eventually. Sometimes I'm turned around at my desk and don't hear it, but I promise I'm not ignoring anybody on purpose. But y'all feel free to contact me. I don't think you're gonna have any trouble with anything on the assignments tonight, anyhow. But particularly or specifically with the project, as you're going through working on that project, keep that in mind. That if you run into any kind of issues with it, that there's no need to really don't beat yourself up over it. Not that you shouldn't try. Hopefully you'll, with all the stuff that we cover in here, you should be able to complete it. But if you get stuck on anything, we're always available, and hopefully it'll be a good learning experience for everybody, and myself included, because I always find out that I learn more when I teach than I ever do any other time. So hopefully you guys will get a lot out of this. And so I'm going to leave this up, and if there's anything that you don't have, but if y'all don't mind, I would like to take a few minutes and kind of see if there's anything else that you guys are get a much better idea about material, more specifics about what programming we're going to do Wednesday night, because it's ideal that we will do like a refresher type thing, but I don't exactly know what all y'all need to be refreshed on. So anybody want to open that conversation up?
Like link expressions and the lambdas are confusing.
Yeah. All right.
If you ever have any like specific things like that you're struggling with, come grab us. We're all in 2031 and we're happy to talk about it. But like just on a side note, ReSharper will help you with that so much. It will break down like all of those lambda, like it will show you different ways to do it. It's very helpful. So I would suggest installing ReSharper if you haven't.
It's not so good about explaining exactly what it's done, because like a lot of times you'll create a block of code and it'll say, hey, instead of doing this in 3 separate steps, you can do this with one lambda expression. So you let it refactor it into a lambda expression, and you look at it and you're like, wow, that's complicated. So it's not the great at explaining exactly what it's doing sometimes, but whenever you're trying to create your own lambda expression, it will try to help you out and give you some suggestions on what you should do. But if you ever get to the point where like it creates a lambda expression, or somebody else has written a lambda expression and you're not sure exactly what it does, just come find one of them or come find me, and we can kind of sit down and walk you through it, because those are one of the more complicated but extremely powerful tools that C# provides. So good to use them at some point.
And everybody struggles with them. So don't be scared to ask. Like I will look. Sometimes I'm reading somebody else's code because like it's per user. Like, what you write and what I write is gonna be different. It's very expressive, so sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Like, no clue, so don't be intimidated, just come ask.
And also, I don't know if you're familiar with LinkPad, but it's software that you can download, and it's a good place to check what you're doing, and it's something that I'm real comfortable in SQL, so I don't use it as much as I should, but I've had its praises sung to me before, so that might be something just to help out as well.
Check.
And if you're having trouble with that, Adam can help you.
Basically, LinkPad is just a place to do quick C-sharpy things without having to make a whole project or solution and all that. You can just run something very quickly, and in Link in particular, you could run it just to see what it does without having to have a whole project.
It's a little playground of sorts for you to sandbox to go around in.
Although once you link it to a database, it becomes a dangerous playground. The playground's littered with
It really is
landmines.
lava
Yeah.
off to the side.
Yes, it actually is lava.
Well, regarding C#, are there specific aspects, like, how comfortable are you guys, like, I don't want to sit up here and be like, hey, this is a variable, these are data types and things like that, if you guys already know that stuff, because that's not something that I want to waste time on. But going from there, what else? Like, are you completely comfortable with classes and the concepts of, like, the
Like
basic?
classes in C# specifically. 'Cause
Yeah.
they do differ a little bit from
Okay.
Java and C
Yeah,
and
that's
things
true.
like that. So.
Right. How about that? How comfortable are you guys with that? Is that something that you feel like would be helpful, or crickets? Okay.
I feel like I understand it, but I don't really know for sure.
Okay. Have you had the opportunity to use them, like, at work, basically? Okay. And you don't run into stuff that's like issues or anything like that? Okay. Excellent.
How many people are working on an MVC project right now?
Well,
Okay.
I almost did, but I just finished with it, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool of you.
So
You may just ramp that up instead of.
Yeah, but to be honest, like I was given a day or so to go through the MVC application. So by the time I just finished with the first one, and like because I started with completely fresh. I mean, I had no idea about MVC before I was put to it, and so by the time I had reached the second tutorial in some Microsoft tutorials they were about MVC5, I mean I was put back to it. So I have picked bits and parts as and when I was asking questions to everybody, okay, what is this? What is this controller for? What is this classes for? So yeah, there is an idea that, okay, I can write a model and then I can write a controller and actions and I can connect stuff up, but it's just particular to one kind. So if I'm asked to do something different about it, then I'm
Okay.
lost
I
again.
gotcha.
Yes, so the first time when I was asked a view model, so I just made a view of it, and it was like a dead partial view, and I had nothing to do with it. The next time they asked me to connect it to the database and stuff, so it makes sense now, but it took me a long time to really figure it out. Okay, and it was not a small project. I mean, we like hundreds of files, and
Yeah.
you get lost all the time.
Yeah, no, when you're dealing with projects somebody else has already created, it's real easy to do that because, you should just try looking at Silverlight
Yeah,
project.
it's not a small just trial test project or something.
I'm just kidding.
Or like
Yeah.
or
Well, the theory that we're gonna go through is basically kind of understand all the different pieces so that it'll make it easier to jump into any of the projects. And again, it's always anytime you're jumping into somebody else's project, it's just gonna kind of depend on like how they code. And since we don't have a lot of that structure that we talked about before, there's no real guarantees about what somebody might have scotch taped together or sometimes I know a lot of times people are just like, oh, I found this code on Stack Overflow and it made it do what I want. I don't know why.
yeah, right.
Yeah. And when I do that, I comment out every single line by line to see what breaks and what doesn't, and then anything that I can leave commented, I'm just kidding.
There's actually a Visual Studio extension where you can start typing what you want, and it goes to Stack Overflow and pulls code into.
Excellent, yeah. That's brilliant. So, yeah. Stack Overflow is awesome, but it can also be kind of a curse if you don't know what you're doing. So, all right, is everybody through with this stuff? Does anybody need this still, or?
You can probably email it out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
And if you don't do it tonight, then just email it to me, and I'll email it tomorrow with the mentor stuff.
Okay. Well, sure I can manage this. Do you guys? I don't know if I have everybody's email address. Can you guys all email me? And
Did you not put it on the roll?
no, I took names down, but I didn't write email addresses. I mean, I can do that real quick. You guys want to give me your email? Andrea, what's your email address?
Agarwal1. Okay, Agarwal 1 at crimson.un.edu.
I'm gonna repeat that. AAJAR
G. Yeah.
GARWAL 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Beauty.
It's Y Sing at Crimson.
Don't say your name. That's spell
YSINGH. At crimson.ua.edu.
No number?
No number.
Lonely, lonely.
We have this professor here, Anup Agarwal, and he shares the same name, so I have to have 8 Agarwal 1.
Okay, yeah.
Must be hard.
Alright.
Yes.
Matt, I'm not gonna email you if that's okay, Matt.
Sorry.
Yeah. And Steven?
Oh, later, nerd.
SD Eastcott.
Spell that.
EASTCOTT at Cosmo.
Alright. Michael?
I emailed you.
Okay, sweet. Andrew?
Hey. There's questions on the spelling.
CS or Crimson? Ethan?
EVDOWNEY. And you can send that to Gmail or Crimson. It works both ways. But
Excellent.
I prefer Gmail.
Done. Darius?
QKMOORE at Crimson.
Okay. Alright, that's it. I'll email you guys the assignment list and hopefully it won't take you more than 10 seconds to finish all this stuff. Perfect.
Well, good for you.
Humble brag.
Alright. See, what you're supposed to do, Michael, is you're supposed to say, well, you did such a fantastic job teaching that I've completed the assignments during the lecture.
Yes, and managed to
then-
win 3 games of trivia cracks, so.